Welcome to Lesson 5 in Unit 7, Patterns in the Sky. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how do we see different patterns with the moon? In this lesson, students use a model to help them understand why they can see the moon and its phases. Students figure out that they can only see the part of the moon that is illuminated by the sun. Students make connections to the storyline by developing an explanation about why they see the moon at night and during the day. There are several opportunities for ELA and math cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 7 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. You'll begin the Engage portion by asking students what they have figured out about the moon so far. You'll then show students the images of the new moon and the full moon and ask what they notice and what questions they still have. You'll revisit the driving question board to add in the new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions connected to how we can see the moon and why the moon changes shape or seeing the moon during the day. For the Explore portion, you'll ask students how they think we're able to see the moon and discuss evidence. You can post and discuss the evidence vocabulary card. The Explore portion requires you to prepare enough materials for each group to have one moon box with the moon inside ahead of time and one flashlight. There is a teacher tutorial showing the setup for the How We Can See the Moon investigation. As students engage in this investigation, they will record their observations on the top portion of the Moonbox student journal page. For the Explain portion, you'll invite students to gather in a circle to analyze and interpret their observations about how they can see the moon. You'll use the provided questions to guide the discussion around the question, how do we see different patterns with the moon? The goal of this class discussion is to identify the relationship between the moon and the sun. You'll use the discussion to add to the Unit 7 pattern chart. By the end of the discussion, students should understand that the moon doesn't make its own light. We are only able to see the moon because the sun is shining on it, and the moon rises and sets just like the sun. Students will be able to draw a class consensus of what is happening with the model. During the discussion, you will post the visible vocabulary card. You'll also display and discuss the Earth, Sun, and Moon model. For the Elaborate portion, you'll gather the students in a semicircle to recreate the moon phase model activity described in the Moon Tonight book on pages 19 and 20. You'll model each of the phases by having a student hold the moon ball in different positions depicted in the book. As you model each phase of the moon, you'll ask students questions. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students answer the questions at the bottom of the Moonbox student journal page. To support student sense-making across the unit, you'll orient them back to the driving question board. You'll ask, what did we learn about how we are able to see different patterns with the moon? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have made observations using a model moon to identify the relationship between the moon and the sun, and explained how the moon is illuminated by the sun. In Lesson 6, students discover that stars make their own light, but can only be seen at night. For more information about this unit, visit mysidepartners.com.